wahala, your breakthrough, idea. Welcome to the chat room.
This no be ordinary place. Now a solution they show face. Lady Mary they lead the way. With guess where go blow your brain. Talk your matter make we solve 'em. No judgment, just love and wisdom. We they discuss, we they learn. Every episode you go feel the burn. Oh, the chat room. Now here we define the way. Oh, the chat room.
Oh yes,
We go talk and clear, no delay.
no delay.
Oh, it's interactive, educative, informative, and unapologetic. Oh, the chat room. We unstoppable, no be lie.
You,
Hey, the chat room. Hey, now here we define the way. We the chat room. We go talk and clear, no delay, no delay. It's interactive, educative, informative, and unapologetic. Oh, the chat room. We unstoppable, no be lie. Oh, the chat room. Yeah. Now here we define the way. Oh, the chat room. Oh yes, we go talk and clear, no delay, no delay. It's interactive, educative, informative, and unapologetic. Oh, the chat room. We unstoppable, no be lie. You.
All right, good afternoon, good evening, good morning to you all, depending on where you are tuning in from. My name is Lady Mary Boadu, the host for the chat room, a platform dedicated to resolving daily life's issue. Over here, we talk about everything medical, everything marriage, everything education, you name it. And it's our hope to bring about transformation to the community and that of mine. So you are welcome tonight. I am privileged to have our mother, Mama Mary, with us. She handles the journey with autism. So if you haven't follow. She's on all social media platforms, but she'll do the introduction herself. Mama, please go ahead and help us with your introduction.
Thank you very much, Lady. Thank you so much. Good evening from Ghana, Accra to be precise. I hope and pray that you're doing well, you and your family. My name is Mary Amwakufo, and I'm a parent of a child with autism. My daughter is Nanaya, and she will turn 23 years on the 17th of April. I'm also the executive director of CLICS Africa Foundation, a support center for children with autism and developmental delays. At the moment, we have 3 centers in Accra, 2 early intervention support centers, and 1 vocational school for young persons with autism. Thank you very much, and I'm so honored to be here this evening.
Thank you so much, Nanaya.
Hello, good evening, everyone. This is Nanaya Sarpong. I'm the co-host of the Chat Room show. Thank you all for tuning in. I am a mother, a wife. By profession, I'm a financial manager. It is my passion to, be educated and to talk about social issues and just life issues in general. So the chat room gives me the opportunity to do that, and I am excited every Sunday to be a part of this interactive and education platform. So thank you all again for tuning in, and thank you so much, Auntie Mary, for accepting the call and for showing up today. We appreciate you, and we know it's going to be a great, great, great conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. When Dr. James is free, we will let him in. But without wasting much time, let's go into it. So today we are looking at autism, or specifically how the church, or maybe even in our families, because sometimes, there are family members who do not even understand when we have special need children. So that is the conversation, the bulk of the conversation today. We are not going to waste much time. We are going to go into it. How do we handle these things? The advantages, the disadvantages, everything around it. So we will leave the ball in your courts if you're okay with it, and then you start. Do you mind, or do you want us to give you a question?
Can can we have her? Oh, you're on mute. Auntie, you're on mute. Can we
Okay,
have her kind of tell us
that's fine.
her journey a little bit so people understand where she's coming from?
Yep.
First,
But so while she's doing that, I have a copy of her book, and I wanted us to talk about her book. Mommy,
okay.
can we
You
start
go
with
ahead.
your book? Can we start to talk about your book a bit? I have my copy. If you want me to show, I can show. But let's talk about your book for a minute. So what led
Okay.
led you to write the book and all of that? Let's go ahead.
Yeah. So, lady, you can show the book. So I wrote a book basically about my life and how the last 23 years has been with autism, especially coming from an African background, from a Ghanaian setting where disability for most people is viewed as, not medical. Okay. People still believe that, having any form of disability, it's not a medical condition, but it has to do with superstition and witchcraft and all that. So sometimes it becomes very difficult to engage with people and say, look, has autism, it's a neurodevelopmental condition, people, it's very difficult. I think part of the challenge or difficulty also comes from the fact that when we talk about any form of disability, people want to see it. So if I'm hearing impaired, if I'm visually impaired, if I have any deformity on my body, and then I say that I have a disability, it's easier for people to understand because they can see it. Now, when it comes to developmental disabilities like autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, and the likes, for even cerebral palsy, at least you can see for Down syndrome, but especially for autism, it doesn't really have a particular look. So you can't just look at one child and say that this child is autistic, unless maybe you begin to experience the person. So it's a book that is about my life, how I've been able, by God's grace, to handle the challenges that were thrown at me, especially from a background where it was so difficult to access support and interventions, and also change the narrative. Okay, so it's a book that is very candid, very honest. I did not sugarcoat what I went through, and I'm still going through. So I would encourage you to get a copy, and it will really inspire you to know that things do happen to us in life. But I think the greater part of whatever we're experiencing is the perspective, or how you see it and how you handle it. That makes a lot of difference. Yes. So let me come back to how the church can help. I'm sure very soon Dr. Eko would join us to talk about the medical side of autism. But I'm sure, if I want to define autism from a layman's point of view, I would say it's a neurodevelopmental condition that affects children before the age of 3. We don't do, for now, a test to show that a child is, your child is autistic or they have autism. You have to go through series of evaluation and assessment by competent and certified speech and language therapists, occupational therapists, your child neurologist, all these pool of professionals, so that they can arrive at a diagnosis for a child. So that is autism in a nutshell. I believe Doctor will add on when he joins. And
Before you
it's a
go to
lonely,
the church, before you go to the
yes.
part about the church, so let me ask you, um, at what point or what made you um, get the help? Like, what made you feel like your child may have a special need? What was the prompt? Did you see some signs? What prompted you to think that, okay, I need to take her somewhere for evaluation because something seems to be out of order?
Mommy, before you
Eh,
answer that question, forgive me. Are you okay that I post your link? Because people are asking for the link to the book. Can I share? I have the links. I can share it if you're fine with it. Okay, go ahead. Mama, go
Thank you
ahead.
very much. Yes, yes. So I saw that quite early. So I have two boys. I have two boys before Nanaya. And, developmentally, everything was okay. They started walking at 1. They started talking at 18 months. They could say, you can hear and understand. At 2, 3 years, my boys could talk, at least basic conversation. At least they could also communicate their needs. So everything was fine. And then there was this one who started saying few words before age 2. And I remember very well, she could say mama, she could say dada, and she could say menumusio in our language means I want water. These were things that she was saying. So ours is what we call retrogressive autism. So the child started talking, and then along the line, there was the decline. But before she turned 3, I noticed that she had stopped saying the few words that she had. In addition to that, she was very hyperactive. So if you go anywhere and you wanted to sit, she will not sit down. She was all over the place. When you call her, she's heard me all right, but she will not respond. Sometimes she will not even turn to the direction of my voice at all. When you are talking to her, she's not looking at your face. She's looking elsewhere, not paying attention to me. And then she was also spinning. My daughter could spin, like she's running in circles, that sort of thing. Sometimes she can just gaze her eye on the fan and just lie down and be looking at the fan that is going around. If it stops, she'll start crying, like go and on it again. So these were things that were a bit out of the line for me. So, but again, it never crossed my mind. So I continue to see these changes, even at 4. And then we enrolled her in a mainstream kindergarten. And at the time, our next door neighbor also had a son who was at the same age. And he would pick Nanaya in the morning, when they're going to school, they'll just pick my daughter along. And then a few months into being enrolled, they called and said, Madam Obano, like saying, she doesn't sit at one place. When you call her, she doesn't respond. And, she's very hyperactive all over the place. When you are talking to her, she's not looking at your face. And then I also said, well, I've noticed something of that sort, but they didn't even say maybe take her to hospital. They were just informing me. However, one time when I joined the car that takes her to school, then the other boy of the same age with my daughter, when I spoke to, the boy, he would respond. He could even say, Mama. You understand? And then when the dad says, oh, Reku, get down. I mean, the boy was responding. And get down, it was like my daughter haven't even heard anything, Even sitting on the seat was a challenge. So I could see a sharp difference between these two children of same age. So that was something that, I saw. But deep down in my heart, I was refusing to accept that anything was wrong. Until she was around 4.5, getting to 5 years, I went to hospital and I saw a regular pediatrician. These days, Ghana, we are lucky. We have neuropediatricians now. About 17 years ago, we didn't know of any, except one, Dr. Beidou. And so we went to see a general pediatrician and said, oh, just continue to allow her to go to school. She'll be fine. And so, my fears were put to sleep at the time. But again, at 5, I know, in fact, if a child is even a late talker, at 5, they should be able to have a basic
Say
conversation.
something. Yeah.
Yes. And so that was also not too right with me. So again, I was very worried. And I'm a teacher. I am a teacher. And it didn't cross my mind until when she was 6 years and she was still not potty trained. And so the school started complaining now, like, she can poo anywhere in the classroom and she's not even aware. And sometimes she wants to play with the poo. So, those things were not sitting well with the school. And of course, with me at work. So finally, we were directed to see a speech therapist at the time. And then that was when the word autism was mentioned to me. And this was at 6 years. So we got the official diagnosis at 6. But again, I saw the signs early, but it never crossed my mind it was autism until we had a diagnosis. And I remember very well the question I asked the doctor, can we get some medication? I was thinking in my head, it's like maybe malaria or typhoid where you take something and then it's gone. And then out of the blue, he said, no, madam, it's not curable, but it can be managed with the right support and the right therapy. I mean, therapy where no coming TB. And so they directed me to the autism center. Sometimes when things don't concern you, even if it's happening within your area, you might not even know. So when they mentioned that there's actually a center for children like that, I was like, wow. So from the hospital, I did not talk. My husband didn't say a word. We were quiet, but I was crying. So we came home. Then the next day, we went to where the doctor directed us. And I saw a lot of children. In fact, right at the gate, I saw this boy in a helmet. And he was kind of saying some things to himself, going up and down. Then I saw others flapping their arms there. I didn't know what was waiting for me, So again, Auntie Sewa, God bless you, the founder of the first autism center in Ghana, she sat me down that time. I think her son was 25 at the time. Now Note is about 43 years. Yeah, so he said, Mary, it's going to be a long journey. You need to embrace yourself. And, she actually spoke to me. But again, it was very difficult for me to accept. So even after I came back from her place, I never went again. And then we resorted to pastors. We had pastors that were on payroll every month. I remember one particular pastor that was coming from Kumasi every month, on Thursdays to pray with us. And usually she'll come and hold my daughter with all the force he can. And then he'll say, Pieko, Pieko, Pieko. So one time when this pastor was coming to join us for the prayer, as soon as Nanaya saw he said, Pieko. Oh my God, but we've done a lot of things. I'm sure along the way I'll mention some of them, but it's a lonely journey. Today I'm sitting here and I'm not crying, but it's been a journey that takes every strength you have in you. It tests your patience, and it's very, very expensive one, of course, because this one child may need a lot of support. One child will need speech therapy, will need occupational therapy, behavior. If they have allergies, you're also dealing with allergies and all that. It's not easy. And there's an aspect of autism that we hardly talk about. So autism itself, doctor will tell you, it's just an umbrella term, okay, for children who have the, challenges in social skills, communication, repetitive behaviors, sensory issues, blah, blah, blah. And alongside under this spectrum, there are also what we call comorbidities. And that's where the challenges lie. So you can have a child with autism who have sleep issues. You can have a child with autism who may even have ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder. You may have a child with autism with extreme allergies like my daughter. Okay. And apart from the extreme allergies too, she is food defect, G6PD. Doctor, write that down so that you can explain later to, our mothers. My daughter has G6PD, which means that I have to be extremely careful what we are eating at any point in time. I remember very well. In Ghana, we cook with cow. What is the English name for cow? You know that thing we add to okra to make it sticky.
Make it slippery. Mm-hmm.
It's called what in English?
I'm not sure what it's called. I know some people also use baking soda.
Okay, so I was using cow.
I don't remember.
And that. Okay, so that is one source of heavy metal. If you have a child with a lot of allergies, you need to be careful. Okay, I was lucky enough to have a husband who helped me to be able to do complete, allergy profile test. Very expensive. It's very expensive, And in that profile test, we had high levels of lead, high levels of heavy metal. And we had to do what we call chelation. That's another topic on its own. I will not even touch on that. And then after we finish with that, then we had to also deal with skin allergies, environmental allergies. And we had to get somebody to come to our home and check where the allergies were coming from. Somebody may have environmental allergies, so maybe skin, and we have gone through a lot. Autism made me and my husband bankrupt. And that is the only motivation why I go on Facebook and I'm so bare and open to share my story, because I also ask myself, if this can at least save another parent from going into depression and all that I went through at the beginning of the journey, why not? Okay, so I'm just going to pause here and then follow the questions. But I think one of the questions you asked was how the church can help. But I'm going to pause. If I need to answer that, I'll come in. But if there are more questions you want to ask me, I'll be candid and open and as honest as I can be.
God bless you. I have a question on WhatsApp. It's actually a comment and a question. She said that she actually has someone that went through this same thing. Let me read it. I have a special needs sister, and that's how she went backwards. Same thing like Mommy was explaining with Nanaya's issue. It says she was talking.
The line is breaking on my side. I don't know why.
Am I breaking it? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
No, I can hear you now. It's perfect now.
Okay. It says that the sister started talking. She knew her colors and everything at the age of 4. I mean, she knew everything, but then all of a sudden it's like everything just, started to deteriorate. But then she's also asking if you ever gave Nanaya vaccinations.
Yes, I did. We took all the one at 3 months, the one at 6, even the last one we did. We took everything. Before age 1, the last one you take is the 4 or 3 in one shot, where they actually give you paracetamol to give the child even before. It makes a lot of the children very sick. Yes, we took it. We took all our vaccination. However, sometimes what I don't understand is all my children have had the vaccination, all of them. But the first one is fine. The second one is fine.
But is there any association, Dr. James, is there any association between autism and vaccine?
Yes and no. Yes and no. There is no clear direct association with vaccinations. Okay. However, if you read the leaflet of any vaccination or any medication, they will list the possible things which can go wrong.
Reaction.
It just happens that it's one of the possible things which can go wrong. But then statistically speaking, it doesn't point to like one or, for example, paracetamol, Tylenol. If you read on the sheet, you'd see that you can get so many side effects from paracetamol. But we've taken so many paracetamols in our lives. How many of you sitting there have had a liver failure from paracetamol? Paracetamol can potentially even make your liver fail. They say it all the time. But in reality, you never really see it. So by law, those things have to be stated. but in reality, there is no direct linkage to it. I know that people say vaccinations cause autism and stuff like that, but if that was really the case, we would have seen it much more prevalent, because if you choose a class of 30 kids, almost all of them would be vaccinated. Then we should see like a very large number of autistic kids than what we see now. So
Yeah.
in the vaccine sheet, they would write that the vaccines can potentially cause that, but in reality, it's not. As she was saying, all her kids have been vaccinated. So
It's
why
not
then
proven.
didn't all of them? Yeah, it's not proven. It's not proven at all.
Yeah, I believe that last week when Dr. James was here, he also mentioned that. Remember when somebody said, "Don't if you have a first child and the child has autism, don't waste your time having other children for the child to come and suffer." If you remember that, and he mentioned that is not, it cannot be proven or is not proven as at now. Dr. James and Anaya, do you have any questions for Mommy, and then so she can keep going?
Yes, I do have a question. So I know that Nanaya got diagnosed later, right? And Dr. James can come in as well. Do you feel that if she had been diagnosed earlier on, maybe what the level that she's on the spectrum right now, it wouldn't be the same, that she will be doing better? Does that?
Absolutely. Even apart from my experience with Nanaya, we have over 100 children at our centers, and the progress rate for the children under 4, it's massive. Of course, not all of them, but the progress rate for the children who started at 2.5. Now, I think the awareness is gaining ground. So people are now coming in at age 2. They are getting diagnosed. Some of them, the doctors will say, okay, we see something is not too right. We don't have a diagnosis yet. But even as we keep an eye on the child, can you enroll this child, in an intensive early intervention support for that child? And most of these programs in Ghana comes with parent training as part of it, so that the parent knows, how to engage with the child at home. They give you basic goals to work on. So some parents are working on eye contact, some are working on making simple basic requests, some are working on sharing, some are working on, play and all that. So I have seen a lot of progress with the children who are younger or below the age 4 than when they came in around 8 years, 9 years. But again, also, even in a layman's view, when a child is just 2.5, 3 years, they are not so much used to a lot of the ways we do things.
Yeah.
So it's easier getting in the way and supporting them, okay, than someone who is already used to, like maybe when the parent comes in at 9, or maybe when the child is 10. Already they are used to a certain way of doing things. Breaking away from that alone, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So I can confidently say that early intervention for maybe about 80% of these children is key. You see a lot of progress. Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Dr. James, do you want to come in?
Oh, that's a penny Gary and Ensuasa.
But let me also add something.
Go ahead.
And this one I stand to be corrected, but this has been my observation. So I have some parents who have children under 3 who have been diagnosed. Yes, as much as it's so important, we have a lot of services abroad. I am not kidding you. Look, we have traveled to New Hampshire. We have traveled to New Jersey, all seeing doctors and staying there for more than 2 months. We traveled to Canada, Florida, sorry, Tampa to be precise, seeing a lot of doctors, blah, 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 trying to cure autism. I think that there's something we take for granted in our Ghanaian setting. The social connection here, the social environment. Trust me, it's one positive thing that we don't pay attention to. Okay? There is no way throughout the year that a Ghanaian cannot go out because the weather was something, unless when it's raining. You understand? We were in US in January, and for most part, unless there's a car in front of the house, I cannot go out. The cold I experience, I don't think I'll ever come there in January, unless maybe something changes. But for those of you who are there, in fact, I want to stand and give you standing ovation. I don't know how you are. I don't know. I don't know how. Nyamisha Moate.
And those
I
in
told
Ohio,
somebody
it's
that
even worse over there.
I told someone, if somebody can walk through this snow and give you $30, go on your knees, pray and thank God for them. Because
Tell
me, if
them.
I go through this, $10 it wasn't easy. But what am I trying to say? The environment here is very good. When I say the environment, the social environment, especially for these little ones, you know how there's grandmother in the house, there's this uncle, you know. When we're in the US, there were times that when you go for therapy, even when somebody wants to shake hands with your child, they're asking me permission. And I'm like, now what Chiano will be some permission, but it's like, hi mom, is it okay to
Yeah, you can't just touch people. No.
Sister, now who bet you be patch or Diana, but all I'm trying to say is, as much as we don't have a lot of the support here, I think for parents who are here, take advantage of the social environment. It is very good. Of course, you know where your child fits in best. Even in the house, make use of it. It's very, very important.
Okay, before we go on, please, if you are watching on, let me post the link on YouTube too. I have shared the link to Mommy's book. It's called Fractured Face. You will love it. And I'm advocating for individuals to please order them. Dr. James will get his, and then Nanaya, the chat room team will get ours. Yes, we will. And so we want to encourage everyone. And you know Clara is getting her book, Dr. James, so you don't have an excuse. But with that being said, please
Clara will get two and give me one.
Yep, she definitely will. But please, the link is on Facebook. I'll post it on YouTube. Grab your copy. But mommy, I want to ask you this: apart from Amazon, where else can the book, be found?
I think for now, if you're in Accra, we do have, copies that we are selling. We do free delivery. But for now, it's only on Amazon. And my second book is coming.
Good.
Oh.
That's a good one. That's a good one. So, would you give me, we'll take the number later and then post it for people that want to, get a copy of the book. Is that okay? Whichever number you're using to sell the book, yes, you can give it to me and then I'll do well to share. But please, for now, go to Amazon. You don't have an excuse. Amazon is everywhere you can think of. Grab your copy. Thank you so much. That I just wanted to add that in. Nanaya, go ahead.
So, Dr. James, are you still there?
Yes.
Because you might need to answer this.
Yes, I'm here.
So, Auntie was talking about how Nanaya has all these allergies. Is there any association between autism and allergies?
Well, yes. It's not necessarily about autism. You see, it's about all forms of developmental conditions. Because what we realize is that if there is a developmental condition, your body did not develop in a particular way which it should have. And with that being said, it may not only be in that pathway. It could be that there are other things which also did not develop as they should have. And then we find out later as time goes on. So yes, indeed, a lot of children with autism tend to have other comorbidities and other allergies. And the same with cases like Down syndrome. A lot of patients with Down syndrome also end up having like hole in heart, tetralogy of Fallot. They tend to have a lot of conditions because, autism and Down syndrome are not exactly on the same level because Down syndrome can be explained genetically. It's a trisomy. So there's a part where the chromosome, instead of being 2 on one part, it becomes 3. And then it's only It only does not affect what we generally see outside, like the moon phase and all those kind of stuff. But then it affects a lot of things internally too. And it's the same, similar with autism. So children with autism also tend to have, it's not in all of them, you know, and some of them would also have different issues. Some of them would have hyperallergies, some of them become hypersensitive to other things, and some of them become even very much, some of them grow aversion to some colors where they don't want to see some colors because it irritates them so much, you know. It's just that part of their brain which has developed that way. Okay, and then some of them have the allergies, as she's saying. Some of them unfortunately get some heart conditions, and so much and so forth. So if you have a child with autism, you may want to be looking out for other things which could potentially be present that you may not see black or white.
All right. That's good to know because I think I saw one of Auntie Mary's post, and it was Nanaya eating jollof or something, and there was onions in them, and you said you hid it in there, so she if she finds it, she may not eat it, but then she put it in her mouth and she tasted it, and she spat it right back out. And I was thinking, I was like, well, I wonder if that's specifically to related to autism, because I have a niece that does not eat vegetables. She's not on the spectrum, she's not autistic, but she would not eat vegetables, right? And even if she sees like a piece of onion in her food, she'll tell you she's allergic, even though she's not allergic, right? So I was thinking, oh, maybe she just, doesn't like it, right? As a normal child or as a normal person, she just doesn't like it. But it could be related to the fact that, she's on the spectrum. So that's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
I was going to chime in here because I know that there are certain kids, like, they don't like anything to do with texture. Anything to do with texture. And that's one of the ways too that I have learned that you can also tell. Everything to do with texture, they don't. But then the doctor is here, he can let us know. This is what the book looked like, guys. Fractured piece. This is what it looks like, in case you're wondering. All right. Mommy, let's look at the okay, go ahead. You want to talk? We can go ahead and talk.
So for the parents, some of you, I think one of the things that will help you as a parent, it's please educate yourself. Take advantage of every training you can get. There's also a lot of good information online. It's very important. Now, most parents will come and say, okay, my child is not talking, but you experience this child and you see that there are a lot of, other challenges as well. And even sometimes for the staff that we work with, you need to tell them, please, for the sake of these children, you cannot use strong perfumes in the morning when you come. Could you be? I love perfumes, strong perfumes. I love even men's perfume, cool water, this, and then just coming in contact with a child within 30 minutes, it's like they are gasping for their breath. So a lot of these children have, issues. So we had to tell staff, please be careful. Please be careful, even for perfumes and all that. And one side of our journey I've not been open to share on Facebook is the comorbidity issues that Nanaya has. And I haven't been able to do that because I didn't want to mislead people. Okay. So imagine if you have a child who is going for a week or 2 or 3 weeks without sleep. It's not good for even their nervous system. Now, at a point, we're not able to, the regular melatonin in the, over the counter was not working for us. We could only use this type of melatonin. Okay, we started with 2 milligrams. Even before we got this, we had to speak to our doctor, and then we had to get one from Genestra that was purely made from herb. This one is very expensive, and this is a spray, so we just give one under the tongue, just so that if we have gone for many days without sleep, this will work. I am not scaring you here. And look here. You see this? If I tell you the price of this, you think that I'm mad. Now, yes, body, we also noticed that she needed magnesium. Now, out of the blue, if they tell you your child needs magnesium, you just go and get it from the pharmacy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, doctor here will tell us we have different types of magnesium. Because she has issues with gut, she has issues with allergies, she has issues with body breaking down, she has G6PD, blah, blah, blah. The only type, there are a lot of different magnesiums. This was the only type that her body was able to absorb. You know, magnesium, is it glycerate? Doctor, is that how we say it? Doctor, is that how we say it? Magnesium glycerate, is that it?
Yeah.
So forgive me, yes. Okay. So this is the kind of magnesium my daughter could take. Okay. It says glycinate, magnesium glycinate. Okay. This is the powder. This is the capsule. You will not believe the price. Let me save you. She has sleep apnea. Doctor, explain that one to us later. You know those that can choke with even air when they sleep.
Yeah.
Look at the device we use. I've never shared some of these things because I am working with a doctor at night.
So she
she'll be able to. Yes, before she wouldn't. It took us about 3 months to prep her. I had to start wearing it for her too.
Wow.
There's a lot. You see that I have it, so many of them, so that if this one spoils, I don't have to, Getting this was very difficult. There are other things here that I don't want to. Allergies, extreme allergies, and that can also be life-threatening. By God's grace, what we also note, and I have a whole book that I have, documented everything, advice from all these group of doctors. Okay. Now, one thing I noticed over the past 17 years that because remember I said we had the diagnosis at 6. So for the past 17 years, I have been documenting this. And this is what I saw. If we eat as organic, and that's what, somebody sent this video, I think it went viral, where he said, I cured my child with autism with food. I am not disputing that fact, but my point was that it's a spectrum. It affects every child differently. Food might have worked for her, it may not have worked for others. So if somebody is doing Mediterranean diet, gluten-free, casein-free diet, and no soy, no whatever diet, and your child is not cured of autism, it does not mean you are not doing the right thing. What I can confidently say about food is that, for instance, if I'm consuming too much oil, it's not good for me naturally.
As a person.
If I'm consuming too much sugar, it is not good for me naturally, okay? So we started having foods that were supporting Nanaye's immune system. And how do I know if, she eats something and I could tell that, sometimes food is not even digested well. Even in her poo, that was how much I could pay attention to. She does not have the right to, flush it. So when she's in the toilet, I'm sitting there, we are singing together. It took us 9 years to potty train her. So that's another story. Wow. To potty train her, yes. She started menstruating at the time she was not potty trained. So that's another story altogether. But I will sit there, and then when she is done, I will wear my gloves and examine to see if there are food particles in the poo. Then I'll write them down. Sometimes I see that what she ate was exactly what was coming out. Something was not right. Then she said she had gut issues. We needed to heal the gut. And so we started with as organic as I could afford. Okay. And it got to a point where we even had to grow some of these things for her. We have gone through a lot. I can only say that it took God's grace. It took God's grace that some of these fatal conditions that she came with, we are still here. And I mean, there's so much to be grateful for, but of course, we are not where we want to be. So I want to encourage parents, please, even as you are setting goals for speech, you are setting goals for this, you are setting goals for that. If you can afford, at least for allergies, do it for your child,
Yeah.
at least for allergies. So
Yeah.
you know some of these things you can prevent. It's very important. We got a replacement for sugar. We got a replacement. And, when you are pushed, it brings the best out of you. I'm sure very soon I'm going to release my own, cookbook, some of these Ghanaian foods. We were with an American doctor who was telling us to go and eat broccoli. But, we are so blessed in Ghana. Cassava is gluten-free. So if your child can eat curry, you are good to go.
Yeah.
I was told to buy quinoa and I made bununi, the body banche.
Yeah.
You want it,
Rice
these
is
things.
also gluten free, right, Dr. James?
Yeah.
We have fonio. It's grown in the north. Fonio.
Yeah.
Fonio jollof tastes so good. Fonio porridge tastes so good. But I don't know where we got this brainwashed to believe that, these days, I think in Ghana it's becoming a fashion. If you can buy your food from the mall, I'm not saying the mall food is not, but all these foreign.
Yeah.
All these foreign food. So parents, just pay attention.
You
They are
don't
talking
know
too
what
much.
you have. You
Yeah.
don't know what you have
but
until it's gone. We don't know the resources and the access that we have to like all this great nutritious food that is good for this body because it's local, right? We want the international stuff.
True. Thank you so much, Mommy. And for everyone that is commenting, for those that are watching, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, thank you so much. You're watching The Chat Room is a platform dedicated to resolving daily life issues, is an educated platform.
we have 75 people online, so thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, actually, I think it's 106 right now altogether with YouTube and then Facebook. So that's a blessing. But please, thank you for tuning in. Every month we come here with a topic and we do well to bring resource personnel on the platform so that they can educate us. And so that is one of which you are witnessing today. We have Mama Mary with us, and then Dr. James also is. Doc, can you hear us? Okay, he's there. I just wanted to be sure that you
Yeah, I can hear you.
Don't take a nap.
Yes, don't take
Nah,
but thank you for doing this with us. We appreciate it. I wanted you to, before Mom comes in with the church and how the church can help, see how she was talking about the pastor that kept telling her people. Anyways, before that, can you explain? She gave two different terms. I believe sleep apnea and something else.
G6PD.
Yes, can you explain those before she?
Okay, so G6PD is glucose 6 phosphate deficiency. Okay, so the G6P is an enzyme which, how do I put it, which actually prevents the red blood cells from breaking down in a bad fashion. Now there are some people who don't have that enzyme, and so when they are exposed to some form of stressors, then the red blood cells start breaking down, and so they go into a form of a hemolytic anemia. What it means is that the blood cells break down literally, like they get destroyed themselves, and that can lead to some very rapid loss of blood, and that can become potentially fatal. Now, if someone has G6PD in a setting like the Ghanaian setting, it's a bit dangerous because one of the major triggers of G6PD is you being a Black person, a Caribbean person, or from the Mediterranean regions. So white people don't usually have it. It's like sickle cell disease. And then the next thing is that you have to find out what triggers those things. So people with G6PD cannot take some medications. Okay, they can't take sulfur-based medications. They cannot even be exposed to so much to things with sulfur in it. So like with metallic stuff with sulfur in it, it can harm them. And there are also some type of food which they cannot eat. Some type of beans, which they cannot eat. And so it's very important that children are tested for these. It's not, this even goes beyond autism, like every child, because it is something that can potentially be life-threatening. It's going to be life-threatening. So that's something that people have to know, and you have to know if you have G6PD or not. Back in the days, you see, now knowing what I know now, I am actually very much convinced beyond reasonable doubt that a lot of children who have died in Ghana in the past tired of things which could have been prevented. For example, if a child has G6PD and no one knows about it, Akola Nini, he's 3 or 4, they give him some gobe with beans or stuff like that. He gets into a crisis, he gets into some form of anemia. What do we see? That the child becomes lethargic, loses energy, oh, minisu premium, getting faint, blah, blah, blah. They start turning pale and yellow, and it's a very rapid progression that can potentially cause their lives if they don't receive the proper care. And so that's something which can happen. Okay, that's about G6PD. Now about sleep apnea. So sleep apnea is a situation where some people literally stop breathing while they are asleep. So they can have periods where they have baby comas, if I can say that, like potentially they stop breathing for a period of time, and then they resume breathing again. So then again, when you look back, you realize that a lot of people have potentially even died in their sleep from sleep apnea, because you stop breathing while you're sleeping. Like you stop breathing. And so it's, when you think about it, it's really dangerous. It's so originally it was attributed usually to weight gain. Yes, in fact, weight gain causes sleep apnea, because when people gain a lot of weight, sometimes you get a lot of fat tissues deposited around the neck regions. And so when you sleep, it compresses the airways and then you can get sleep apnea. But also, it can happen without people even putting on a lot of weight. How do you realize sleep apnea? How do you notice sleep apnea? So there are some people, no matter how many hours they sleep, they still feel tired when they wake up in the morning. So they would sleep for 8 hours, 9 hours, but then during the day they're still sluggish. They tell you, "Oh, I slept, but I still I feel very tired. I don't feel rested enough." They could be having sleep apnea. How do we find out? You do something called a sleep study, and now in modern times, some of the smartwatches can detect sleep apnea. So I think the Apple Watches from series either 9 or 10, I'm not so sure. They can detect if you have a sleep apnea, because it measures all your parameters while you're sleeping, and it can detect when you stop breathing at some point. So that's, now we have the technology to actually point us towards that. But before those, you had to do a sleep study, to notice that, okay, this person has sleep apnea. When people have sleep apnea, we could use something called a CPAP machine. I'm sure like you've seen it, if they're usually in older people, or you've seen it in movies or stuff like that, where some people put on a small mask every time before they sleep, and the mask kind of helps with the airway, with the pressure of the air, so they don't go into apnea. Also, there are some sleep apnea which can even be corrected by the sleep position. It's very funny that something as simple as your sleep position can even contribute to sleep apnea. And now there are so many devices which can help, like the one she showed us. So that's also something to look out for. If you have a kid and you know for sure that this kid slept for 10 hours or slept for 9 hours, but during the day, early in the morning, you see that they are still sleepy, they are not as rested as they should be, that could be a sign of sleep apnea. So that's something to also look out for. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much, Doctor. Let me just add on. So, parents, one of the things you could also observe to know whether your child has sleep apnea, you notice that when your child is sleeping, then it's like there are some of these things that I can't say in English. No, bring the one with the watch. It's still there. So the child is sleeping. The apnea, it's like maybe 5 seconds. So it's just stopping breathing for about, I don't think it's even up to 10 seconds, but you are deeply asleep. And then, because sometimes I have to sit down and watch her just to see when it's happening. But what doctor said is very true. So we have the watch. I'll show you when, it tells you when it happens and for how many times within the sleep. If the child has this and then they are taking regular walks in the evening, 2-3 hours out to their sleep, it helps. It helps a lot. You might want to avoid anything that would make you have cold, because that will also double the trouble you're going to go through. Sometimes people look at my daughter and they see her so tough and they're like, give her out in marriage, blah, blah, blah. And I say, you people, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're dealing with. And the only reason why I do not share that part is what I'm telling you. We're working with the doctor, okay? This is a machine here we are using. I'm not going to bore you with this one, but I'll come back. I'm showing you this because when you see people and probably they put up a certain behavior you don't understand, give them enough grace. You have no idea. You just have no idea what they are going through. This is the watch that tracks years sleep. Okay. I had to get it for her and get it for myself. It tells you the number of hours. It tells you the oxygen intake. So if the oxygen concentration or whatever, it tells you maybe the pulse, blah, blah. It tells you everything. Just like sometimes they put that in. Doctor, what's the name? The one they put on her finger to tell.
The pulse oximeter. It's called a pulse oximeter.
Yeah, this watch also has that as well. So it tells you the number of sleep, if she got any episode of the apnea, how many times and how long So then every day I have to document. By the grace of God, I haven't seen it for the past 4 months. Ask me what has changed differently. We are doing regular walks. I am very careful, not giving her any food that may put any pressure on her digestive system. It's very important. So greens are very important. We've been so blessed with kontomire. We are now growing it ourselves. We are doing dandelion juice, encouraging and add a bit of pineapple, even this evening. And because she has a lot of sensory issues, and one of the ways to, prepare to even understand and be part, when I'm preparing it, she's part of, I can hold her. We have a strategy called hand over hand modeling. For those of you who are therapists. So I hold her hand with a knife here. We are cutting the pineapple together. This is the way we cut our pineapple. We sing along, okay? Then we juice. Sometimes she will not even come closer to the juice. It is fine. I will drink it first, show her that it doesn't kill. Sometimes I'll give it to her and I say, please feed mommy. When I get 5, then try 1. Sometimes it's just even her smelling. It's fine. What is important is don't give up. Your child may not be eating onions or drinks, or it took us more than 6 years for her to try fruits, but it's fine. However, I am careful what is going inside. I'm checking molds in my house. Dettol, I cannot use Dettol. If I use, and this is not, please, maybe I shouldn't have mentioned, but anything that is very high concentrated, but people use it. My sons use it and there's no problem. But I had to look for, other ways of, if I have to mop my room and all that. Okay, so be very careful. If your child has allergies, things that have strong smell is very important. We use a lot of essential oils. That's also another I don't know why they are so expensive. And these are complementary. They don't change whether you have it or not. It doesn't change much, okay? But I use it in her pillows. I use it in her clothes, especially eucalyptus and lavender. Okay, these two have been very helpful to her, especially when she has cold and all that. So even if you cannot afford therapy, our Ghanaian food these days. Let me ask Nanaya, when was the last time you prepared bottom?
I don't even know how to make
bottom. Do you eat
I don't
it?
know how to make it.
But have you ever eaten that before?
I have.
Okay. So your child may not take cocoa yam, or they may not take the yam. But maybe when you make it into bottom, it tastes so good. Okay. And you can infuse a bit of beans. If that, so for us, we cannot take the fava beans, what the doctor said. There are certain kinds of beans we cannot take, but the red and the white beans, we can take that one. So sometimes I can infuse just a little bit, blend it into the soup, and it gives her all the nutrients she needs. So Food, yes, is important, but know your child. We are saying it's a spectrum. It affects every child differently. We are dealing with allergies. Other people are not dealing with these things, okay? They eat everything, they are fine. And I also noticed that the more we're healing her gut, she was getting stronger and her body was able to cope with other things. Okay. I am also full G6PD. I am also full G6PD. And if I tell you that I didn't know until I turned 42 years, until I turned 42. So I got to know my own status just 11 years ago. Imagine something could have happened to me and I could have died instantly, and they will blame it on some old women sitting somewhere because they'll say, oh, Auntie Mary. So please, especially those of us who are O positive, it's very, very important. If you are O positive, I want to encourage you, please go and have these things checked. Very important. Doctor, is there any link for those of us who are O positive and these,
So there are so many genetical factors, things like G6PD. I think that's the most common thing that people are very much aware of when it comes to genetics, or our genetics, is sickle cell disease, right? So think about every other thing, like the way sickle cell disease works, right? So for G6PD, for example, there's a genetic link to it, okay? Just like allergies too. There are, for example, in practice, if someone has an allergy to penicillin and they are not sure whether their child has allergy to penicillin or not, we usually avoid it because there's a possibility. However, up until now, there is no genetic proof of children with autism. Like what someone said it last week. Someone also brought this up last week. With autism, no, there is no genetic link which has been proved yet. There was a research in Israel, I think last year, which said that they are developing a form of genetic engineering which can potentially, help with autism, but it has not been developed fully yet. They are still undergoing it. G6PD, blood type group, yes, there is a link to it, and there's also a possible genetic linkage because it's in the genes, right? It's in the coding of your DNA. And so if, for example, as Auntie Mary said, she's G6PD, her daughter is also G6PD. So there's a possibility that her daughter picked it up from her gene, right? There's a chance. And so, I mean, it's not too late if you don't know if you are G6PD or not. You can still check and see, because it can save your life one day just by knowing it.
I know your studies. Oh, thank you so much for this. As we always say, we said that the chat room is educative, interactive, and informative. And so I hope you are enjoying the conversation and taking several things away. We always learn every time. Every Sunday we learn something new. And Anaya can tell you that every Sunday we learn something new here. So we are grateful for Mommy for coming with us, and to everyone that has tuned in. Nanaya, I just want us to take a quick commercial break, like 30 seconds. Okay. We'll be right back.
Yo. Now your matter with the talk. Your life, your wahala, your breakthrough, idea. Welcome to the chat room.
This no be ordinary place. Now a solution, they show face. Lady Mary, they lead the way. With guess where go blow your brain. Talk your matter, make we solve them. No judgment, just love and wisdom. We did discuss, we did learn. Every episode you gon' feel the burn. Oh, the chat room. Now here we define the way. Oh, the chat room.
Oh, yes.
We go talk and clear, no delay. Oh, it's interactive, educative, informative, and unapologetic. Oh.
All right. Thank you all so much. We are back. Mommy, can we we look at the church and how the church can actually help, we know that for those of us from Africa, we know how people frown on. And I think last week we were saying that there are those whom would see someone, a special need individual at the bus stop or even in a car, and they would not want to sit by them. But I believe that we need more and more and more education, because imagine that you don't have your own means of transportation as a parent. The only means will be maybe you're taking a taxi or Uber or Bolt or whichever, or Trotro. And if that's what you have to take, then parents, imagine when people begin to frown and act up just because your child, your child is a special need. It can be hurtful, but it is what it is, right? So how can the church or maybe society in general, even I said something earlier that our own family members, sometimes our own family members find it, it's not easy. They find it very hard to kind of relate to our children. So can we talk a bit more about that?
Thank you very much, lady. So I think it starts with an awareness, very, very important, especially for those of us in Ghana. Everything that is not what we expect, or everything that is not the regular, normal way, we always attribute it to the Satan, to the devil, so we are trying to cast out. I'm not saying prayer, it's not good. I have prayed my heart out. But I also believe that, disability even existed way, 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 way back in the Bible. We've read stories for those who are faith-based. So I think that things do happen to us for a purpose. Whatever happens to us, like your child having autism or whatever, for me, I think that it starts with an awareness. Of course, you still believe in God, and it doesn't make God any less if you have a child with disability on it. There are people with other conditions. It may not be autism, but they are still being faced with something. I think the first thing is to ask God for strength. And then you ask him for direction. What is this here to teach me? It's taking me lots of work, on myself to reach this point. Just a few years ago, I would have cried talking about this, but I think gradually, I am getting where I think I've accepted this wholeheartedly and fully trusting on God. So I think it starts with awareness. In our women fellowship groups, our Children's Day services, picnics, and please, let's continue to talk about these things. Number two, I think it's so good. Imagine going to church and once every month, let's say the last Sunday of every month, pastor, calling the congregation to be on their feet, or if you're at the mosques or wherever, can we use the next 5 minutes to pray for parents who have children with special needs? There's instantly a feeling of belongingness. This pastor, he gets it, And, I think that is very important. Asking God to, give us strength, parents like myself. What can we do? One of the practical things that we can do is having a sensory corner at church. Having a sensory corner. So, in a small sensory room where maybe we have a small padded floor. I actually experienced that in one of the churches, in the US. And it was so beautiful. So you had a padded floor with some dim lights, bright lights, with a beam back where, you can sit and wrap yourself. And then they have the exercise ball. You can, your child can sit on it, and you can bounce back and forth. There was an indoor trampoline, a small round one a child can, stand on and jump to get all this energy out. And, they can listen to music. And so I think it will help a lot. A calming room. It doesn't have to be big. It can just be a small room where we have some of these fidgety toys. We have fidgety toys, we have, discourse and effect toys. I'll list a few in the chat session. We can have some of these because sometimes, every behavior a child with autism exhibits it's a form of communication. And sometimes what it takes to calm them down, it's just an understanding, caregiver or a parent or a Sunday school teacher. Can we have some people who could, hold their hand and walk back and forth maybe for a few minutes so that they can get that input they so desire? I think having a small calming sensory room would help. Creating awareness on Children's Day, picnic days like the Easter Mondays when we go for all these picnics, women fellowship, even main church. Can we say that every 3 months or every quarter, we have a church dedicated to children with special needs where we invite parents to come and share experiences, share their faith. I think it will go a long way, because sometimes one comment from somebody at church who doesn't understand you can just break you down. I remember one time when somebody asked me, Madam, ona ukraba yarefono, and I was like, so you can't remember anything about my child than to say that maybe for lack of better words, I've heard, I remember I went for an anointing service, this anointing service we do at the end of the year, where we line up, pastor will pray for us and put, anointing oil on our foreheads. My daughter, she has a lot of sensory issues. It started with not even wearing anything, until now that she's now wearing even high heels, wanting wigs and everything. And we've come a long way, but few years back, we could not go for some of these services. We're in the line for a 31st night program. So I got my anointing oil on my forehead, and then as soon as the pastor put my daughter's own there, she just wiped it off. Because even as now, she doesn't like things like oily things on her skin. And then when we went out, somebody from Women Fellowship, did I see how the spirit in my daughter was, manifesting with the anointing oil? And I'm saying, sister, anointing oil, the gumi, but so I can make oil. I'll buy the whole gallon and put her inside. It's not it. This child has sensory issues. She has sensory issues. Some of our children, sometimes they are not talking, but they can talk to themselves a lot of the time. And why I'm sure you, because of they are talking to dwarfs and all that. But some of these comments come because of lack of understanding. Let's continue to raise awareness of the condition. Let's have a calming, a sensory space for children who cannot cope with the noise at church. In fact, we can even start by buying a few noise cancellation earpiece. Imagine going to church and then at the back of the church, just as you have Bibles there for those who do not have Bibles to take one and sit down, or the hymn books. My church, when you go, we have hymn book for everybody who haven't, gotten the hymn book, but we don't have one noise cancellation earpiece for in case there's a child who has autism and cannot cope with. And in Ghanaian churches, there's a lot of noise. For those of you in America, you are lucky.
It's still there.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Sorry about me. I said it's still loud here. It's very loud.
But I think it's much better. Yeah, I need it so sometimes it's you. So as soon as they start, sometimes we have to just, go out and wait till it's over. Now she's able to cope. But before we couldn't do so. Imagine going or walking to a church and seeing that they have, or during the announcement before we started, if you have a child with autism or sensory issues who is hypersensitive to sound, please go to the vestry. We have some noise cancellation earpieces there. Go and get one. The way you feel welcome. Oh my God. But it's not happening. So getting some cause and effect toys or even bubbles. Okay, pop-up pilot. Children love this one. It's like a little a frog inside this small container. The child presses somewhere, and then instantly it comes. Having 3 of this at the at the vestry for the other. I think we should move from having a Sunday school where we are all seated in circles and in church and in all these pews to having, a mat on the floor, seated, I think we can have some of these things at church. So there's a lot that the church can do.
Yeah. Wow. Like you rightly said, we need more education. And Nanaya said earlier, this is why the chat room is here. We talk, I mean, this is all we do every Sunday. We need the education. So I think that we have to just keep drumming these in the heads of our families. Sometimes because the people that even live in our homes, they may not have the understanding. So we can start little by little, start where you are, start educating the people in your home around you, and then gradually we will progress from there. There's a comment that I saw earlier. I don't know when, but Doc, do you wanna say anything at all before we move on? And
Oh no, I mean, so far so good.
so far so good.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Mommy, by the way, there are individuals here that are expressing, you know, taking their hats off to you on how well you're doing. Everyone that follows the journey with autism would knows how much of a good job you're doing, and so we appreciate you. Dr. James' sister, she almost missed the session, and she earlier, one second, she earlier said she really was looking forward to coming on here because she wanted to give Auntie Mary a virtual hug. So I wish I could, but she finally made it here. She's saying that God bless you and thank you for the amazing work you're doing. Um, Lady Pastor Abina said you are doing amazing with your daughter. So many different comments commending you on how well of a job you're doing. You are doing an amazing job. And she's turning 23, like you said. Dr. James, please come in.
And actually, there's one thing I wanted to say that
Okay.
Auntie Mary is, from what she's saying, if most parents were like her, and I'm not saying this because she's here, our job would be very, very much easier. Why do I say that? Because the doctor just spends a few minutes with your child, but you spend much more time with your child. So if you are as interested and if you pay much attention, you would actually have so much data, and because you know your child, you live with your child, and even with yourself as a human being, you know yourself much more than your doctor. So I do understand that, yes, like we've been trained and all those kind of stuff, but we're only seeing you in a snapshot of time. We're only seeing you for 20 minutes in so many weeks or so. And so, if the parents really pay attention to the children, they actually get to know some things that they don't necessarily have to go to the doctor for. For example, they would know that, okay, my child gets triggered by this and my child does better with this, or A or B. You know when your child is having difficulties with sleep or not. And so, yes, God bless you, Auntie Mary. You are the best. You're the kind of parents who make the doctor's work much easier for
Yeah.
all of them. So this should be an encouragement for all parents to actually pay more attention to their children.
Yes. Thank you so much. We have I have a friend from Indiana. She said that she is a very good mother. And again, like Dr. James said, this is someone that is interested in wanting to do everything possible. And so thank you. Thank you. Um I think that our background actually we frown on basically everything. Sometimes your child may not even have or be a special need, but how sometimes somebody will treat them just because. And so I think that we just want to be mindful as a society, and then just do our very best to assist. Nanaya, did you want to say anything before? Mommy, it's 5:20. We have like few minutes. Well, if it's your first time here, you are listening or watching the chat room, a platform dedicated to resolving daily life issues over here. We pick a topic every month and we do well to bring right people or resource people, and then we delve deeper into the conversation. And so this month we are looking at autism, and we're looking at different topics within the autism. So if you're just joining us for the very first time, you are welcome, welcome, welcome. You can do well to follow the page, and so that whenever we come live, um, you can get notified as to us being live. Nania, do you want to ask or
It's
ask a
so much
question?
like my head. There's so much going on like in my head. And I'm looking at Aunt Mary, and I'm like, wow, wow. Like I'm so much in awe of her, because as a mother, just imagine your child just being sick, having a fever or something, and look at the anxiety and the pressure that you put on yourself, trying to make sure that they're good. Talking about a lifetime commitment of having to dedicate yourself to providing, to protecting, and taking care of your daughter or your child, right? It's a lot. Like everything that she is saying, I'm like, wow, wow. I've followed her, but I haven't followed her for that long, so I'm just like, that literally levels to being a mother. There's like those of us who are mothers, and there's those who are like mothers, and God give everybody something that they basically, he gives you what you can do and what you can take care of, right? And Nanaya is so blessed and so lucky to have a mother like her, because you have to be in a position to really be able to, know what you can do. Because me, we'll be crying. You and me, we will wake up and both of us will be sitting over there crying and not know what to do. That's how I felt. My older son, when he was born, he had allergies to like all this stuff, like wheat, eggs, and tilapia. Because I gave him tilapia one time and his throat basically started closing up. His lips were swollen, and thank God that I had some Benadryl, and you know, took care of it that way. And then we did the allergy test and found out that he was allergic to a lot of stuff. And at that point, I'm like, literally, I'm like, okay, how we're not gonna do this because eggs is in every, like, you can't have a cake, and wheat too. He was allergic to wheat. You can't have cake. You can't. I said, what kind of life is that going to be? We have to. What can we do to get him out of that? Right. The first thing I did, I took him to my pastor. I said, we got to pray because we're not doing this. Just from anxiety. And thank God he's not there anymore. I don't give him tilapia anymore, but everything else, he can eat eggs. He's fine. He doesn't react to those things anymore, which is a blessing.
Yeah.
Because I cannot imagine just that little time that I went through that, and what it caused me. So I cannot imagine her having to like dedicate her life and doing all that. But that's why she was the one that received that girl. She was the one that God gave that girl to, because God knew that she is going to take care of that girl and she is going to bring awareness, which is so needed, especially where we're from. It's so needed. The resources are limited. The education is limited. It takes a committed mother to say, I'm going to, use my child as an example to help other people be able to do this, to help other people be able to get out of it. I wanted to ask her if she can tell us about the resources, that are available so people can know where to go. People who are in that situation will know where to go. If there's like a funding source, like how she's able to afford all this pile of medication and all this stuff. If there's a way that people can contribute, people can donate. One way would be buying her book, of course, to help her to be able to afford this lifestyle, because that's what it is. It's a lifestyle, So if you can get that information from her and put it out, so people who want to support, people who want to, learn more, people who want to like reach out and all that, be able to have that access.
Sure, Nanaya, I will do that. It says I am inside the room. Look. Okay, yeah, mommy, I think you actually may have left, so you can just click back on the link and just join, if that's okay with you. But guys, her book is out. I actually pinned her link earlier.
Again. Where did you pin it at?
On Facebook. I pinned. Okay. Everyone should get a copy of this book, at least to, of course, read it, and then to also support. Okay, to also support. If you get I'm gonna post it again. If you get a copy of the book and you still want to be a blessing, Nanaya is turning 23. So you can imagine how long she's been, handling or taking care of Nanaya, all these years.
Yeah.
If you want to be a blessing in any other way, please do. Well, I was trying to ask her if the phone number she shared earlier is okay for individuals who may want to get the book.
She said add her.
Oh, she said
Is she in
add.
the room?
Okay, hold on. Let me send her 1 second.
Okay. And while we wait to do that, one thing I also want to say is, if you are a mother with a special need child like Mama Mary, or even different situation, there's a reason why you were given that charge.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason. Don't give up. Don't be discouraged. Just know that you can handle it. You can handle it. That is the reason why you have that charge. You can handle it. Do not give up. It's, I can't say I know it's hard, right? But from looking from afar, it's hard.
Right, yeah.
It's hard. It's going to be hard, but know that you can do it.
Okay, there's a comment on WhatsApp for Dr. James and Mama Mary. She's watching. She can still. Mama, I've sent you the link. I've sent you the link to WhatsApp. So if you click on the link, it'll bring you back to the room. It says that my nephew doesn't seem to have autism. Okay, I'm coming. Doesn't seem to have. Okay, there she is. My nephew doesn't seem to have autism. He speaks very well, very smart, but he constantly does scream, throws a lot of tantrums, break things, and so forth. Can Dr. James?
Hold up. Someone said they were unable to click.
No, it's Mama Mary. She's back in. I just added her.
No, I think for the book.
Oh, for the book. Okay, let me send it to you personally then. I'll send it to you personally.
Send it to me and I'll forward it.
Okay. So she's asking, she said, did you hear what I said, Doc? Sorry about that. She wants to know if there's
Yes, I heard it.
That because obviously the child's parents may not think that a boy has autism, but she's looking at everything he does. Though he speaks very well, he's smart, and she's thinking he has some type of relation to. Please go ahead.
So there are two things here. Number one is that autism is a spectrum. Okay, so there are some children who are very mild on the spectrum, and then there are some children who are on the extreme end of the spectrum. So there is that different children exhibit different difficulties. There's also something which is very new, SCBD, social, emotional, and behavioral difficulties. So there are some children who may not necessarily have developmental problems, but they have some form of dysregulations. Okay, so there are some children who find it difficult to, let's say, understand the concept of taking turns. That it's not your turn yet for something. Wait, when it's your turn, then it will be taken. So if let's say they want something at a particular time, you don't give them that at that particular time, they can throw a tantrum. Okay. Then again, it goes back to the parents, for the parents to actually pay attention and realize the patterns in the child's life. And some of the patterns can easily be corrected by the proper therapy. Again, these therapies cannot be done on the kids. It's the therapy is mainly targeted at the parents, to actually teach the parents how to deal with the children to be able to get these things. And one of the things I personally saw was it was a 6-year-old child. He is a Ghanaian child to Ghanaian parents, and then they kept sending the boy away from school, that the boy is always causing trouble in school, blah 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 blah. So I went to speak to the boy, and I didn't speak English. I spoke local Ghanaian language with the boy, and I asked him, why did he bite his teacher? He bit his teacher in school, so they suspended him. So I went to ask him, why did he bite his teacher? And then the boy told me that, there was some misunderstanding in the class, and the teacher asked him to go into the corner, and he didn't want to go into the corner, and the teacher held the hand and tried to drag him. And so he bit the teacher. I mean, it's not right, but I understand him completely from that point of view. What the parents didn't know, the parents didn't know the whole story. Okay. So the boy actually, I realized that he listens when you have a dialogue with him, even though he's 6 years old. But if you have a dialogue with him, and I say, oh, Dane, na, he listens. But if you tell him to have a seat, he will not. So it becomes a matter of trying to regulate his emotional and social stuff. So there are those kids who are not autistic per se, but they have behavioral dysregulation. Okay. And then there are also kids who are on the spectrum. Again, all these things can be assessed through centers and through occupational therapists and behavioral therapists. But if they are on a very low side of the spectrum, or if they have SCBD, it's something that can easily be fixed with the right support and the right therapy. It can easily be managed. It's like anger. There are people that when they get angry, they'll just walk away to go and sleep and then wake up the next day to come and talk about why they were angry, because they know themselves that in that moment they'll explode. And then there are people who also have to speak. It's like even regular people have to learn how to manage their emotions and stuff. So it's important that while we are looking at these things, we also look at managing the emotions of children. I have a nephew, 2 nephews now, Clara's children. And the 4-year-old recently started telling me that I had a good day today, or I'm having a bad day. And whenever he tells me I'm having a bad day, I ask him, why? Why are you having a bad day? What's happening? And it's quite interesting because that 4-year-old boy can actually take his time to tell you why he thinks he's having a bad day if you ask him. And then sometimes you tell him that, oh no, it's not wrong that maybe your dad doesn't want you to watch the TV now. No, he doesn't hate you, but he just wants you to study a bit. So go and do your homework. And then when you finish the homework, you come and watch the TV. Because they don't understand. Children don't understand how a lot of things work. So it's our responsibility as parents to take our time to teach them how the world works. They don't understand how to channel their energies, if they're upset or if they are angry, they don't know.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Again, to everyone who tuned in, or both on YouTube and Facebook, we appreciate you. Mommy, can you give us free resources? I don't know how much resources we have in Ghana. You mentioned earlier that Nanaya's situation have literally bankrupted you and daddy. So for individuals, imagine individuals who do not even have a job, or like is not in the best place to even handle this, but then they have a child with special needs. So are there resources? What centers are available and all that before we end? Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. So there are a few centers, and most of these centers are in Accra. That's the sad thing. So you go to the other regions, there isn't much. However, like I said, there's a lot that a parent can do. I was teaching. I was a teacher with Ghana Education Service before autism happened to me. It got to a point where it was very difficult even getting a nanny to stay with, because I will not sleep at night. She's not potty trained and all. I mean, there were so many issues. So it got to a point I had to stop teaching and be a full-time caregiver to Nanaya for many, many, many years before I went back again. But I think that there's also a lot that today I want to share one of those things that really helped me during the time. You know what I did? I went to Melcom. Melcom, you should pay me. I'm giving you hype this. And I bought a laminator. At the time, I think it was 120 cedis or something. Then I got laminating sheets. Okay. Then I went to Google Images. So for instance, Ghanaian food, we have wache, we have cocoa, we have buff road, we have all these things. So I just downloaded the pictures. Then I sent them to Word. Okay. Then on each A4 sheet, okay, I'll put 12 pictures. Sometimes depending on the child and what they're interested in, I look at the site. So I started creating the Ghanaian food, using just my computer. Okay, now that's the thing. So if you don't know how to use a computer, however, I'm sure you can also get. Now we do have apps that will give you these pictures for free. But before, that was what I was doing. So I did for colors. I did for classroom items. So if you go into my small, packages I was doing for parents, I did have for colors, for classroom items and vocabulary. I have food for breakfast, I have food for lunch, I have food for, I have bedroom items. And I printed this, laminated them, cut them out, used a puncher to punch. So I still have this. I made them long time ago. Okay. Fruits and all that, because I noticed that most of the books contained some vocabularies and fruits that were not known in our environment. And you know what I did? I started posted on Facebook. People were not interested. Then I joined Accra Expatriate Group. You see, I joined the group and then I started posting my resources there. Could you believe that I could get orders? And sometimes I had to hire somebody to come in and help me make these resources. I made a lot of money from it. You're not going to get maybe $300, $400, but you will not. The day will not end without you having maybe 400 or 500 cedis. Okay. And these are very, very easy to make. Okay. When I got a bit of, money from that, I bought my first iPad. It was a used one. Okay. I was in 52 Facebook page learning about autism, and what I can do to support my child. So you can start making resources to sell. I read every book I could borrow. I remember the time, It Takes Two to Talk, and then More Than Words. These two books were two of the books I read right from the beginning by Susan's, Fassman or something from Canada. She was the woman that runs the Henham program in Canada. It's one of the known programs for autism in Canada. I read all those books, and then I started teaching people at home, and I was charging them. So parents, I know sometimes to be able to do some of these things, you will need a bit of support. But also if you make a bit of money, you can also pay somebody to babysit whilst you do some of these things. Then I started my own granite paste line. Okay. Mary's, granite paste. I started at, because we're staying at Achmonte School, my husband was teaching there. So I'll make the bottles, the granite into the bottles. And then I went to a cafe, made my own label. It's not like today that you can use ChatGTP to make labels for free. And then at night, my sons and myself, after I've done all my packaging, we were sticking the stickers on the bottles ourselves. And then in the morning, I'll start from Achibota police station. Those who are selling the kenke and those things by the roadside, it's 15 cedis. Please sell it for 15. I take 12 cedis. You have 3 cedis from it. And people will take 15. Some will take 20. I was making a little bit of money. When my interest, became a little big, bigger, I started with secondhand clothing. And I was buying post bed sheet, the big one. I'll iron them myself, put them in this, small package bags, and I'll started selling. Now you can do a lot. I just did green juice this evening. I put them on my status on WhatsApp, and people are asking me. I think I've had 5 people sending message, I want to buy some. I said, I'm not selling it. I'm just encouraging people, to move from fizzy drinks and start some of these things. You can get yourself blender. Ginger shots, people want this. You can, the bottles, 50 of them is less than 400 Ghana cedis. How much do you buy a blender? It's 300 Ghana cedis. I mean, you can get a blender, get a cheesecloth. So parents, you can do something. Do not let disability and autism hold you down. You can do something. You can do something. I have fried eggs. I have done yarn chips. I have sewed pencils, erasers. Okay, do something. Do something. It may not be enough to buy a car, but it will be enough to fill your gas or buy charcoal.
Mommy, thank you. I think our conversation has gone, I don't know. But anyways, I'm showing you the book one more time, guys. This is the book. I hope it's clear.
It's clear.
So thank you all so much. If you want the link to Amazon, just comment under the video link, please, and then we will spread it across. God bless you. Mommy, thank you for coming.
I do want to ask for the books because I want you to get all the money, the maximum amount possible.
Mm-hmm.
So is Amazon the best way to order? Like if for people that don't mind, with shipping or, just so you can, because I know Amazon will get their cut
percentage,
and all this fees. So what is the
They take
best
all the
way?
money.
Yeah.
Really? What is the best way to try to support you?
So if you're in Accra, we can send to you, or if you're in Ghana, we can send to you. But the whole of June, we are going to be in the US. I'm bringing a lot of copies, It's actually printed there as well, so we could mail it to you, okay? Please, when you buy this book, you are supporting my ministry. If you go on Facebook, you know that we have Clicks Africa Foundation. We have some of the children on scholarship that we are supporting. We have some not even in Accra, outside Accra. We are building houses for, some we are paying for therapy, some we are giving seed money for the parent to start a business. So please support us in any small way that you can, okay?
So how else, besides buying your book, how else can we support? Is there a link? Is there
Momo?
Yeah, so we have a GoFundMe page. I have a Zelle account, and we have bank account, but also I think the popular one people use is my Momo, the 0244-988-977. In fact, as I speak to you now, we are so much in need of a trampoline. Our trampoline got spoiled, and we are looking for somebody to bless us to be able to buy a trampoline before the children come back next week. So
how much is a trampoline?
It's around $600.
Okay.
Yeah, it's around $600. Yeah, So please, every little thing goes a long way to support. So just reach out. Please, can you put my number so that people can also reach out?
Mommy's number is projected. Please, we are in need of trampoline, guys. If you want to support, if you're in the US and you're watching and you want to support, you can inbox the Lady Mary platform if you're watching from here. And trust me, every dollar will go back to her. Now, if you want to do Momo, please send the Momo directly to her to this same number that is on here. But if you're watching and you're wondering, we'll also do what we can to support. But if you're watching and you're wondering, just reach out to me, okay? I might not have you send the money to me. She says she has Zelle. It's probably not even needed to send me anything. She has Zelle. She has everything you can think of. We'll send it directly to her. But we encourage everyone to support in your own little way, okay? All right.
But they can also send to you if you have a donation. If you send to Lady Mary, I'll surely get it.
She'll definitely get it. Yes. God bless you also, my dog. Thank you for doing this with us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Somebody's asking for the Zelle information.
Okay, Mommy. The Zelle number.
But those in the US, that's like the easiest way.
Yeah.
So
the easiest way.
We can't hear.
Mommy, you're muted. Let me unmute her.
Okay. So the Zelle is maryamwa01@yahoo.com.
Okay, your email. Okay.
Yes, maryamwa01@yahoo.com. That's my cell. Yeah. And then if you want to use the Momo, it's 0244-988-977 MTN mobile money number. And the name is Mary Amwa.
So Zelle is Mary Amwa 01
01@yahoo.com.
Or do you want me to put it on the chat?
Put it on the chat.
All right.
Put it on the chat.
I'll put it on the chat. You can move on.
Okay. All right, Mommy. We were just ending. I was asking Doc if he had anything to add. You're done. God bless you. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you. Thank you, Nana. Mommy. Thank you. To everyone who commented, to everyone who joined, to everyone who shared. God bless you. If you came late, please go back and replay. You will love it. We've actually gone over our time, 46 minutes. That's how good the conversation is. Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. We appreciate you all. So
God,
please,
God bless you, Auntie.
Mommy, God bless you.
God bless
Have a
you.
good work.
Doctor, I'd love to meet you again. And Lady too.
Yes.
And my sister.
Yes, mommy, I'm going to
Nanaya.
send you a message.
Definitely.
She will send you, he will send you a message, Mommy. Don't worry, he
Let me
will.
do
Once
this
he
now.
says he will,
Yeah.
he will.
And I think maybe when we have another time, we need to talk about autism and menstruation. That's
Okay.
another huge
Perfect.
topic. Or
Okay.
potty training and autism. Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. All right. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Have a good
Bye.
night. See you next Sunday. Okay. See you.
Yeah.
See everyone next Sunday. God bless you.
Yo, yo, yo. Now your matter with the talk. Your life, your wahala, your breakthrough. Idea. Welcome to the chat room.
This no be ordinary place. Now a solution they show face. Lady Mary they lead the way. With guess where go blow your brain. Talk your matter make we solve 'em. No judgment, just love and wisdom. We dey discuss, we dey learn. Every episode you gon' feel the burn. Oh, the chat room. Now here we define the way. Oh, the chat room. Oh yes. We go talk and clear, no delay. No delay. Oh, it's interactive, educative, informative, and unapologetic. Oh, the chat room.